Welcome back everybody to the 2020 LCK Summer Split Analyst Task. That was Gen.G versus SANDBOX. Gen.G had a very early win against SANDBOX. Today, Gen.G pulled off a very confident comp today. And the core factor was Ashe in the bottom. So as Gen.G took Ashe for their bottom, SANDBOX locked in one of the top tier champion Aphelios because already 3 of the top tier AD champions were banned out. If you pick Aphelios into Ashe, it's really hard for SANDBOX to have any priority in all 3 lanes. Well, they were having a very flat comp and a very standard LCK comp, but there was no way for SANDBOX to find an opening in the end of the game. Gen.G did focus hardly on their laning phase and they were able to convert that in the later phase of the game. At the same time, thinking of them treating their comps, it's really hard to point out their problem because at the same time, this game was all about the laning phase. It all came down to their laning phase prowess. Gen.G had a lot of pressure, not even letting SANDBOX to have their momentum to have the power spike. And Gen.G had a very early game lead with a very comfortable play over here. Especially BDD was having a very fantastic performance all throughout today. They had this information that Trundle was pathing around the topside jungle, and then Ruler double-checked it with his Hawk, and as soon as they got this information, look at BDD just sprinting to the bottom lane. Fates and OnFleek, they were trying to wipe out the vision around the jungle, so Gen.G had so many space to make their roam to the bottom lane. This was an accident for the upside of SANDBOX, but at the same time, Trundle and Azir, they both didn't pay any attention to the bottom lane. And for Ornn, he didn't really cast his teleport, so he could actually transform that fight into 2v3 or 3v3. Well, we can say that SANDBOX players are not jointed as we expect him to be. And for today, Ruler has extended his winning streak on this champion. He's now on 5-0 on Ashe. BDD was having some pop-up performance today, showing off his mid-lane mechanics up against his opponent. As you saw, Azir was trying to run away from this fight with his dash. He used his Proto Belt to block him. BDD was just eating him like a breakfast over here. He didn't really contest a lot of his ability. It was a simple combo, but a really excellent mind game coming out from BDD. Echo, as soon as he can body block that dash away from Azir, there's no way for Azir to turn this fight around. But in the end, that was the auto that cleared out that kill from Lee Sin. But anyways, it was definitely a huge mid lane gap from this game. Then it's time to check out the player of the game. Echo from BDD was the main character of this game. Indeed, Ruler's kiting and his damage dealing was also one of the highlights of today's game. But if we have to go back to square one, that bottom lane turret dive was the beginning where Gen.G could just accelerate their lead. Echo was really moving actively all around the map, and with his mechanical prowess, BDD was really proactive today. And it was more like assassin champion coming from Gen.G, showing a little bit of a change of their team color, just like the spring split. BDD picking up 7 votes out of 12. He stacked up 500 points of POG, coming out on top of the POG standings. Now let's move on to the game number 2, GenG versus SANDBOX.
Thank you, G-Sun, as per usual, and welcome back to the Caster Desk. Ladies and gentlemen, here for game number 2 between GenG and SANDBOX. LS, is there any way SANDBOX wins game 2?
That is a very interesting question, Atlas. I'm trying to think of...
Are you trying to work out a way of saying no nicely?
Yes. Yes, I am, actually.
All right, well, let's leave it at that then.
That's a very astute analysis.
Thank you. I like to think that my insight's right there. No, it's definitely an uphill battle here for SANDBOX, unfortunately. Thankfully, they will have Yamato back for the next match, but this is still another one. It feels like this team is, well and truly down in the dumps. And when you're up against this sort of competition over and over again in your first few games, it really is demoralizing. And what we're seeing is more of a mental breakdown here for this team rather than them being completely outclassed on the Rift. Like, yes, we are seeing that, but I think the reasoning goes a little bit deeper than the GenG players are better than the SANDBOX players.
Yeah.
I think definitely momentum is playing a huge part here. And GenG, they only lost in the first week, right? The same story as T1. Although T1 did just fall to Damwon, GenG are on definitely a winning streak here. 3 matches in a row thus far. As that Varus going to be banned away again. Bottom lane is where we're looking here for both of the teams, as Ezreal and Kalista banned both on the blue side.
And this is a pretty big deal for SANDBOX. They're banning away Kalista and Ezreal even on blue.
It gives a free ban to GenG.
Yeah.
Right? 100%. Well, we'll see what they do decide to take away. It will be Karma. A lot of the first pickable champions have actually been removed here. Of course, all 4 of these champs definitely first pick worthy. Might be getting to the point where Trundle first pick is going to seem like a good idea. Don't know whether that's entirely true. As... see what this last ban's going to be. 4 seconds until SANDBOX do need to make up their minds. Trundle is going to be banned. So where are we? We're sitting at the moment. Aphelios is looking first pickable in theory. Yuumi is first pickable in theory. GenG probably will ban it.
We'll see what they're... I mean, it could just be set too.
Yeah, true. All right. Yeah. Got to get them nerfs, dude. That's what you got to do.
Got to turn the pages.
Uh-huh.
It's just how it is. As Aphelios might get picked up. B1.
I mean, it's almost feeling like the best decision, especially with Karma now removed, so you won't have to deal with the Karma Ashe lane. Still, there are certainly other options that you can utilize as Volibear Instalock. Okay.
Okay.
Ashe? There
right, so they're going
Freljord.
They're going for the glacial passive here.
So it's a few sets ago, my dude. Have you been playing much TFT recently?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, no, there's not a lot of
it's fine.
glacial anymore. But there is in this particular GenG composition. And Volibear at one point was actually really good in TFT. It's a while back though. It's on fleek. Thinking about going back to an old favorite here in the Jarvan 4. And it's going to be locked in.
The Volibear is, in theory, a triple flex. Support, jungle, and top. We've only seen him jungle and top so far elsewhere.
Yep.
And we'll have to see how GenG wants to utilize him here.
Haven't seen him be very successful so far in the LCK. It was Ixu that debuted the champion, I believe, in our first game when this patch was live. Is that Thresh going to come in once again? Looks like Kellen's going to go back to something like a Nautilus.
Yeah. SANDBOX is... I mean, well, Aphelios is liking everything that he's seeing right now. Oh, he's liking it a whole lot more.
There we go. It's Sir Thomas. This is to make sure that Ruler can play as aggressively as he would like. This is something that I'd more attribute to Life's champion pool. I think Life has a very good Tahm Kench. But Kellen is, of course, no stranger to it, as LeBlanc is going to be banned away.
Yeah.
No mid laners to be picked just yet, so you may as well attack that champion pool.
And, well... Zoe is now taken off the table by SANDBOX.
Maybe just ban something like an Azir, if you would like to. Azir Aphelios, certainly something that traditionally would work out very well. Didn't in game number 1, as we know. We'll see whether Clid's Lee Sin's going to get banned, or whether they assume that Clid's going to be playing this Volibear in the jungle, because I'm looking at a first pick Volibear on red side thinking there is no way you're going to blind your top laner instantly, especially when it's Volibear and he doesn't necessarily win all matchups. As we've already seen.
Well, Syndra also being taken away. And I wonder how Gen.G are going to approach the R4 slot here. Because they can easily still choose a
Just
champion
play
that's
Azir,
flexible mid-top, and it still conceals where Volibear
That's true.
would go. But,
It's BDD.
yep,
So that
going to be
means
Azir.
pigeons.
Yeah, that is true.
We've got catfish, we've got bears, we've got pigeons, and we've got a lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a rule. It's
Keeping the variance. I like that.
Ashe has a lot of pets
She does.
going on here. That's,
does.
you know,
It's Ash's menagerie.
yeah.
As, oh, this would be exciting. Have you seen this matchup before?
You know, I feel like Wadded tweeted earlier today, and
Yeah?
I told him, you know, like, if Aphelios isn't doing it for you, sometimes a little bit of Azir Corki
Oh, baby.
can really seal in the flavor. And, you know, there's nothing better than, like, B5 or R5 Aatrox and Renekton.
Oh, yeah.
So-
I think Renekton or Aatrox are probably... That's the best garnish to this
it-
composition.
You already know it.
Ooh, bit spicy though
All
here.
right.
Well, continue. This might be a bit, a little bit too much spice for some of our viewers. As speaking of which, we're going all in.
There it is.
Love it.
Oh, no?
All right, bit of on instead. Not gonna have the greatest time is Rascal in this lane against Kennen. Certainly will be able to win out in team fights, and it will be putting the Volibear in the jungle. That is going to be that. So the Ornn locked in, certainly a power pick for Rascal in the past, but he's been stepping away from it, opting in for more Malphite-esque tanks on the top side of the map, which I have been enjoying, but this is all right. And it's now Gen.G that have themselves very standard scaling front-to-back comp.
Well, it does look like Gen.G have a much more hard wombo combo engagey team composition this time around. SANDBOX still with a lot of scaling. Corki and Aphelios.
Yep. And a lot of
Jarvan.
team fight as well with
Yeah.
the Jarvan and the Slicing Maelstrom synergy, or I guess counter synergy, depending on how you look at it and how it's actually employed in the game. But you can see it feels a little bit more cohesive on the side of SANDBOX, although their last comp, there was nothing wrong with it. It was just a little bit too late game for what was being provided, and maybe the Jarvan's going to add some extra early game oomph to get them over the line.
Well, we'll see what they can manage to do. This one should be a lot easier for the bot lane to play out, and
Yep.
that can definitely cause a lot of interesting things. However, now the mid and top lane are going to be a little bit more susceptible all around.
I do like the Ashe and Ornn's menagerie, though, because you've added, you know, Ornn up there as well to join Ashe in raising these animals, but you've also added a ram in there as well. So theoretically, there's 6.
Ashe is the zookeeper
Yeah, definitely.
in this game. She even has a hawk.
And
to go
Ornn
to
is
the
like,
spear.
I think his name, he's a ram wrangler, isn't he?
The Forge God.
I mean, I know theoretically he's Forge God, but
Yeah.
he's also a ram wrangler. So it does fit into more of this zookeeping style of composition.
Do you think Ornn and Volibear being on the same team and trying to win together is like Goku and Vegeta?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Well,
Clid's
see how
having a
it
bit of a
pans
dance.
that sounded like a Pokemon.
It really did.
Yeah.
It's a Pidgey. It's actually a Pidgey. Is it a dance or is he just sleeping? Because he starts off 100% sleeping.
I'm not totally sure. Okay, well.
Okay. Headbanging. That's all right. We're going to have a look at some of the runes here. Press the attack, Volibear. Clid's going in. As you can see, bit of Predator for the Jarvan, the new and improved 10-12 Predator. And Clid's at least going to be running around the river quite effectively. And after he uses his summoner spells, thanks to the Nimbus Cloak, as Cabby and Root are just going to check their way through this brush, and we'll discover Ruler. Throws in a volley, and SANDBOX are relegated from this entrance to the lane.
Well, Clid is going to be doing a solo start here.
Yep.
Yep. It's going to be maybe full clearing here on Volibear. Has Press the Attack, Celerity, and Nimbus Cloak. And so Volibear is basically the same family tree as Set and Olaf in the jungle.
Okay.
Set is the strongest late game of the three, with Volibear being arguably the strongest mid game. And then obviously all three of them having a lot of early game potency that approach things pretty much in a similar way. Olaf's the fastest clearer of the bunch.
Yep.
But yeah, and it's just sort of how they are. So
a little bit more dive potential on a Volibear as well, given that ultimate. But we'll see whether that Stormbringer is going to be working out here for the Volibear. First time we've seen it in the jungle here in the LCK, but of course you guys who have been watching other regions know that Volibear has certainly been partaking in some jungle. Root and Cabby not doing too awfully, as that hook is going to find that minion, and Ruler's looking for an angle on the volley. Doesn't actually find it onto the enemy champions, but clearing out minions is what the aim of the game is for this point in time.
Volibear just with the full clear, and you can see on Fleek, he comes in there, he checks on the Raptor camp, sees that it's not there. Now, unfortunately, because of what's happening in mid lane, I don't think on Fleek's going to be able to do crab to crab. And I'm actually really surprised that Ruler and Kellen didn't just go up and get it.
Yeah, probably should have.
Yeah.
As Clid's going to find On Fleek. Sky Strike not going to be getting any damage or slows onto On Fleek there, as he's going to get himself into the Shelly's pit. I'm going to go back home, try and grab those first couple of items. Cull start here for Summit. I like it. Noguri-esque maneuver.
BDD just trying to come in, poking the Corki down. His mana pool is very low right now. On Fleek, Predator boots have been completed. We'll see if Ruler actually uses a spell this game. Apparently he did not use one in the last game.
Ruler?
Yeah.
He didn't use a spell ever?
Did not use a spell.
Really?
Yeah, apparently.
I saw a lot of spells used.
Yeah, but apparently he didn't use one.
Ah. Well, that's very perplexing.
Yeah.
Well, Clid's going to look to try and steal this one away. On Fleek, lying in wait, wants to try and get a smite, I guess, onto the big one. Not going to be able to do so, as Clid's just going to happily walk away with everything, as you can see. Kellen in here is good old Tom Kench, just trying to stop Cabby from freely walking back into the lane. As, okay, Root gets himself a Graviton, and On Fleek's going to move his way down, but completely within the knowledge of GenG, as Cabby getting in position to try and find a hook. Might be able to find one, as now we've got a flag and drag to get On Fleek behind the enemy. It's going to be taking the enemy side Sir Grompulus.
Yep. Well, On Fleek is not going to be able to really find anything super early on. Clid does recall. Oh, man.
Is this just going to be...
Yeah, Kellen's just threatening to devour it.
Yep, and it's going to lose its patience, so at least the timing is going to be there, as Summit had teleported back towards the top lane. And Rascal has really evened out the CS here. You can see he's going to go back as well, looking to complete his Catalyst when he can. But just going to recap on some consumables, things like that. Catalyst does actually come in.
The other thing about this is that Jarvan, with the Predator boots, he's not finding anything, but also his laners aren't really doing him any favors on the Jarvan. And we talk about this a lot on the broadcast, that laners do not manipulate their lane states relative to their junglers' paths. And when you play a champion like Jarvan, you go Predator, you really need that to be happening, because otherwise you're just going to end up getting consistently out-farmed. and not having, I don't even know what he's looking for there, honestly. You know, that's...
Maybe Azir. But of course, Azir's not going to be anywhere near this particular minion wave. There's nothing really to do. And Clid, he's going to move on over. You can see Rascal gets a really good shove out here towards the top lane, and that's going to result in a lot of added pressure that Gen.G are going to have available to them. No big leads here for anyone. You can see it's going to take some time before Fate reaches his relevant point. He started with a tier. It's of course very standard, but not going to be giving you nearly as many battle stats as, say, a Sheen start would have been. Root and Kellen having a better time down here.
Yeah, much better than
Root
in...
Cabby, sorry. Kellen, of course, remember, was Root's former partner on Jin.
Honestly, Clid really is the police in this game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just decimating on Fleek here. And he's, Clid is very close to level 6. On Fleek's still 4.
Oh dear. No, that's level 6. That's a 2-level advantage.
Yep, it's a 2-level lead.
And he might be stealing away a blue buff here as well, which would be catastrophic. You're going to have a look at that. As
oh,
you see right
man.
here. On Fleek is very close.
Oh, Cannon.
Oh dear. This is going to be a pretty comfy dive, but not going to be able to get knocked up here as there's the flash. And I'm sorry, Summit, but you are well and truly dead.
Yeah, and I mean, you see his giant wave, it's pushing away from Ornn. You know that Volibear's in close proximity. You know that you can just get flash queued on by Volibear, and then you will be dead because it'll give Ornn the way to kill confirm you, or the invert happens. Ornn starts it, and then Volibear gets you. You can't escape with flash. So, On Fleek needs to help Kennen shove out the wave. Because otherwise, he's just going to get frozen on, he's going to go down 2 levels himself. So, the only thing that they are doing, though, is they're on point with the Dragon Captor here.
Well, that's a Devour. Very, very comfortable as Cabby's going to get volleyed. Rule actually finding Root with that one as well, who does have great weapons for this fight. Moonlight Vigil comes in. The arrow's going to land. Oh, no, On Fleek has put Root in the way of the arrow as now BDD gets the flash so easily. Scoops up a double kill for Ruler, and in the meantime, the top side of the map is going to be taking down Shelly.
Well, this is going to be the Rift Herald getting picked up by Clid. I don't know what... Summit's playing with fire a little bit. Just going to end up backing off. Rascal is going to recall. Probably has a Negatron cloak available for him. On Fleek's going to come down here and absorb a lot of the minion EXP because he was falling further and further behind inside of the jungle. And this is at a point where EXP sticks really hard. So Ornal comes out, and this is what I mean. Your hand's going to be forced by either the large person from inside the mountain, Ornn, or the
armored bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just bad news. Bears.
Bad news, Bears. I was thinking the same thing. Flash is out of the way.
Yeah, but allows Root to just get completely slammed by the arrow. And that's the beginning of the end as we have a look at BDD making his way. He gets himself to a safe position. And then everyone's dead.
Yep. Saying let's just get him. Yep. Asking for a spell check as well.
Now make sure you have good spelling.
Yeah. Almost has the Nashor's Tooth complete. Kennen going for the Proto Belt, but it's going to feel quite bad even when he does end up completing it because he is pretty even in lane here with this Ornn, which is not the situation that you want to be in. Also, On Fleek is going for Tank Jarvan.
He always does. He is definitely a fan of the Tank Jarvan. Summit, though, interestingly, has gone for the Conqueror Cannon, seeing almost only Unsealed Spellbook for the Kenny. This time around wanting a little bit more power as BDD just, shifts his way out. Clid's going to grab himself a turret plate. And no harm, no foul. Well,
Hawk shot.
A foul.
Coming out. And yeah, I think that this is another double kill.
Well, we'll see.
Volibear has ult. They're just gonna wait for Volibear.
The walking over going to make his way in. Okay.
Oh,
Let's see how clean it's going to be, though, as there we go. Goodbye, turret. Not going to be doing anything there. As Root trying to 200 years BDD, but there are not enough. As Fate comes in and may have actually sealed it as BDD holding onto a mini wave. He's in an uncomfortable position. There's the Emperor's Divide, though. Oh. We knew that BDD was going to go down, and oh my god. The throw is hectic, but Kellen may have just saved it here as Clid. He's running on in. They're looking for On Fleek, who will take the Lantern. Tongue Lash comes in as well. And I believe in the end it is a 2 for 2.
Yeah. But, I mean, it still ends up being a victory because you pull so many members down to the bottom. And they walk away with Volibear getting back to his jungle. OnFleek gonna have to be recalling. We take a look at how this transpires. And the ultimate by Clid comes out. And, I mean, this execution by GenG is a little bit sloppy.
Yeah.
Pretty much all around. BDD knows that he's dead no matter what to OnFleek, and so he goes for his last stand to try to shove the SANDBOX members into his teammates. And I don't know what they're doing by trying to... You know Volibear's there.
Yeah.
So he's running into Fog of War to just have all of his life deleted.
Well, Ruler and Kellen get back to lane. You can see already Ruler has built up a couple of waves in CS advantage. As Fruit's still doing Aphelios things.
Yep.
Just hasn't looked quite as impressive as it did in week 1 especially. BDD with a very, very fast Nash's 2. Coming back to the mid lane with that one as Cabby just getting rid of blast cones where he can. Mountain Drake going to be spawning in 35 seconds as Arrow is going to connect. And Clid and Kellen are going to turn up. No one's going to be taking that particular Lantern. And now OnFleek says, no, 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 no. This is not where I want to be. And Ruler and Kellen are going to pick up a whole bunch of plate gold as Shelly is making a way forward. Fate is going to get pushed back. And how many Valkyries do you have, my friend? Not enough is going to be the answer. As look, might be able to get over. As one auto was not enough as cleared. He's trying to canter his way forward. Skystrike not going to be able to find them, and now he's going to face check OnFleek, who's just getting the hell out of there because Clid is too scary.
And looks like, okay, they're just going to leave the red buff. Clid is going to pick that up for himself. That was a very close call. BDD did manage to almost get that killed. It seems like there's a fight in the mid lane.
Yep, this time OnFleek taking a bit of a beating from the Sand Soldiers. Now Clid going for another dive as Cabby's going to flash, puts down the box. Root's just destroyed though. Mauled to death by a big bear.
Honestly, it does seem like GenG have found the route to victory here in this game number 2. They seem to have really measured it out well, with Ruler being really well positioned here.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Almost like it was fate.
I think it was the summit of Korean League of Legends that we're witnessing at the moment.
Yep.
Okay.
Really on point here.
I'm really glad you didn't say on fleek. I don't know. That makes it even worse.
Trying to be a rascal.
All right, BDD he goes everywhere. Going to use that ultimate as OnFleek takes a little bit too much damage. BDD also getting poked out by Summit. You're not going to be diving him at this point in time. No summoner spells to come out from the jungle or top lane of SANDBOX, so not too much to worry about there. But BDD also didn't have to use his. Arrow. Goodbye.
Honestly, I have a feeling that... Now, you notice the color of the arrow.
Yeah.
And you notice that so many they keep going.
Oh no, call the police. The ulti comes down so clean as Root. Yeah, that's a Moonlight Vigil that you probably don't want to tell your friends about. And the burly Bash Bros in the Volibear Ornn combo is just frightening.
Well,
the Freljordian Doom Squad.
This is definitely not looking like a very good game here for SANDBOX. They're just getting pulverized.
Do you want any control words, by the way?
Try to zoom in, which is a thing that you can try to do against Thresh Lantern.
He might have rebound his mouse wheel.
Yeah, that could be a thing. For sure. As, it is just a party in bot lane. OnFleek is about to die.
Yeah, didn't really want that stopwatch anyway.
And honestly, how generous. They managed to...
Okay, BDD not opting in for this one, as somehow they don't instantly die from that slashing mouse. Ruler kiting it out, gets the triple kill! As Fate must have assumed that he had that one in the bag, but unfortunately, he just joins the wallet of Ruler. His kiting today has looked amazing. Just vintage Ruler.
Now, the one thing I wanted to, mention to you. Now, you notice that Ruler keeps shooting his Ash arrows off the map.
Yeah.
And you notice the color of the Ash arrows.
Yeah, okay, got it.
So he's trying to summon the next Zoe skin. Have you seen that one?
Oh, Prestige. The Prestige arrow to go and find the Zoe? Is that what it's doing?
I think that's exactly what's going on here.
Okay, let's have a look at this fight once again. As, yeah, Gabby just gonna die.
Well,
Be the start of it. Ruler didn't really mind about what was going on. There's now BDD's fighting Fate and on fleek. The flash comes down. Oh, Fate just out of range of the Sand Soldiers. It's going to keep him alive. Good flash comes in there and BDD wastes his. So a lot of scrapping going on. GenG's still ahead by a country mile. But still some fun stuff happening as Root's getting autoed down. He is so far behind, guys. Over 40 CS. Another arrow is going to land. But nothing really to come of it, as they do need to start respecting these volleys. And Ruler and Kellen are very, very happy. Ruler's just so free to do whatever the heck he wants because there's a Devour just chilling.
Yep.
And,
gonna be able to just get devoured.
haven't seen that many Tahm-Kenches recently,
really...
so it gets exciting when you see a hook and then you remember Tahm-Ken.
Well, I got nervous. I thought Cabby was gonna take it and they were both gonna die.
Well, that would have been fun.
That's what I was half expecting. But not going to have anything happen. The gold lead continues to extend here.
Kid Icarus taking down that turret in the mid lane. And Klid's just going to clean up Shirley. As no defecting this time around. Both Shelly and Shirley on the same team. And the bear is just going to try and swipe her down. Going to get there pretty comfortably. See, as far as farm is concerned, it's only really Summit that's in the lead on the side of SANDBOX. And that's half to be expected. Anyway, Abyssal Mask completed here for Rascal, who's moving towards level 13 very soon. Experience, having a look at it right now, actually not very soon. He's still got a fair way to go, as Ruler has definitely the most gold in the game right now, as BDD pretty far away, alongside Fate and Summit.
Well,
wow, Ruler almost has double the money that Root has.
Yeah.
Jeepers.
Well, you take a look at the replay. BDD, he sets up a retreating Sand Soldier and then tries to just fight. OnFleek manages to get back over the edge. And I guess BDD doesn't have the Azir turret?
Yeah, that might have been on cooldown. Yeah. Also might have thought that Klid was going to get there at a similar time than OnFleek, but probably not, because of course Flag and Drag exists. You don't have one of those as a volley bear. So a little bit of a whoopsie when it comes to both junglers turning up to the fight at the same time. That was never going to happen. Cloud Drake going to be available in 5 seconds time. Earth, Wind, and Fire is upon us. And that should be taken instantly by Klid and Ruler.
The Fabled Book has been completed by Summit.
Beautiful.
And other items, I mean, Righteous Glory on Volibear is very good. Helps him get onto the targets and stick.
Oh dear. Ooh. He's going to flash into the Ornhorn.
Yeah, that was bounce.
Doesn't work out. Yeah, it's a bounce house. And Ruler finding the arrow means that they are easily able to guarantee that kill. This is looking real sad for SANDBOX.
Yeah. This is 2 games in a row, very, very similar fashion. They can never really get anything started, and everything just keeps going really bad. And, I mean, I'm trying to think of something nice to say.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm feeling that. Do you know how you say something nice? Just talk about Gen.G.
Okay.
That's the easiest way to do it.
I don't like being accused of bias when there is none. This is just catastrophically...
Maybe talk about
unfortunate. Ah, okay. So, I mean, if I could, I would give Chovy Player of the Game here.
Yeah, that's definitely not biased. I think you've nailed it. All right, let's have a look at this one again. As, yep, layer in CC, pretty ludicrous. As I believe that was yet another kill going over to Ruler. As we come back to live, nothing really to talk about. Might of the Ruined King going to be available for Ruler in 1 level's time out of Rascal. Still needs to complete his Forgefire Cape, but he's very, very close. Just that recipe to complete. And we do have a Muramana on the Corki. He's scaling.
Yeah.
There's a fair bit of AoE here for SANDBOX, and they still do have a great scaling comp.
Yeah, they do. And Aphelios can always try to do the 200 years. The thing is that Kennen's just really out of the game for the foreseeable future because he's not going to be accruing that much gold.
Yeah.
And if he's going to eventually start dealing damage in these fights, he's going to need a Void Staff because Ashe is picking up Death Stance. She's going to have some MR, and then she'll probably end up getting even more MR later. Now, Summit does manage to dodge there.
Yeah, but still
man.
made brittle. And Rascal has taken about 20 damage, I think. And Summit takes the majority of his health, but imagine if a few more abilities had a hit.
Yeah.
Is Kellen going to eat some grey health just to keep himself alive? SANDBOX not going to go in on the Tahm Kench at this point in time. Teleport in as GenG's Baron take is discovered immediately, but they're not going to break off because they don't see any reason to. No package here for Fate. As there go the Sand Soldiers. We're going to try and set up. This could be a 50-50 actually, as they're relying on Clid to get that smite, and he is going to be able to do so. Kellen goes golden as well as the Slicing Maelstrom finds the backline, but Kellen just licks him, and he's going to go down as now Ruler still kiting this one out. Root just frontlining at the moment, but does eventually flash to get himself to safety, and Rascal wishes he had another charge on that Ornhorn as on fleek. What was that? Rascal getting in on top of Root. He's still alive as Ruler's still trying to kite this one out. Aphelios does get one of the kills, but he's going to die immediately afterwards, and now Cabby trying to run. Clid has about no health. He doesn't really care. Fate does come in and gets lanterned out as well, and now without Ruler, that is a big deal. SANDBOX might be able to hold off.
Well, Rascal almost has his ultimate available again, but it does seem like everyone else has gone. Okay, well, Cabby is not long for the world, as he did come in via the teleport. Now, Corki is alive.
Does a lot of damage too. The rapid fire cannon now completed.
8,000 gold lead for GenG, and now Rascal has ornaments available to him. So probably going to give over Might of the Ruin King to Ashe as the first upgrade. In the Baron play, interestingly enough, it was a sort of 50-50.
On fleek did get pushed out, but you're right, did make it into the pit.
Tries to go in, he gets lanterned out. Summit trying to do whatever he can, but he gets locked up. And so the Slicing Maelstrom ends up dissipating as Kellen comes out of his stopwatch, and then like you said, he just licked him. Clid made it out onto the left-hand side. And then I thought that Clid would just run top lane immediately and tap the minions, but you see actually comes back into the fight on the minimap.
Oh, but the Devour was still there. And that's why OnFleek couldn't actually find a target.
Yeah. He went back in, but there was no real turning point. Fate does invest his flash in order to turn and kill the Ashe, which very surprising. BDD comes over the wall, does use a control ward to confirm that Thresh is indeed there.
Can confirm that control ward no longer remains on the map. Bit of extra money there for SANDBOX, theoretically.
Amazing.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. Three-man Cataclysm, though, as in goes Fate with the package. Ruler trying to kite this one out. Summit trying to catch up to him, but he's not able to. Volleys come through to try and slow everyone down as Root is going to be taking a double kill for Clid, as now Summit's desperately trying to get onto Ruler. He should be able to and does lock them down, but Clid has found him. And goodbye, Mr. Ken. And now Cabby, I don't know where he's going, but I don't know whether he's going to survive for too much longer, and he's the last man standing. It looked like things were going okay for SANDBOX, but in the end, this bear was just too damn big.
Yeah. And I think they had the end of the game if they just didn't chase.
Oh yeah, potentially.
With the minions, but they ended up chasing. No teleport available now, and they're not going to raise the inhibitor, and that's actually really good. There's no reason to give so much free EXP and gold over. And let's just take a look at what happened. So, nice three-man Cataclysm. The Corki package, however, not quite as good. And then Ruler and Clid just being backed up here. BDD doing so much damage. Shrima shuffles Cabby and Summit, and then they have minions, so if BDD with his Gnasher's Tooth just stays, and you let Clid keep chasing them down and denying the recalls, I think there's a chance that you end the game, but they end up playing it super uber safe.
I think that's okay. They get themselves to soul point as well immediately after this. That's a happy Clid.
검거다. 막타. 용이랑.
Arrested.
Oh, because of his policeman.
Yeah.
I get it.
Also picked up the adaptive helm for the Volibear here.
Yeah, he's not taking very much damage this game. As we also have the Zhonya's Paradox for BDD. A few extra stats. And the Might of the Ruined King, like we were talking about before, is going to be in there. So Ornaments coming down. We're very close to a 10,000 gold lead regardless, but Gen.G are actually far further ahead than that, than you might think.
Yeah.
Fate does still have a lot of wave clear, so this bottom inhibitor turret is very, very healthy, but it's the mid lane that we're really looking for. As there's the on-horn, we're just looking to try and start a fight here, as that's a double knock-up. One of them landing onto root, that's very important. They buy space to take down the inhibitor turret, but now Summit, he's found the ideal flank, but Devour from Kellen is so damn good. Cabby has to go gold, and Summit's unfortunately just way too far behind. Doesn't do the damage. There's the flash into the Emperor's Divide, and Gen.G will seal this game. Root's trying to run away, but this time I think Gen.G have got the memo, because they just want to win this one. Clid, yeah, no, the policemen are coming in, and I think Root certainly is going to be arrested and
200
sent
years.
immediately to jail.
Got arrested, yeah. Too old, you know? Like,
do not pass go, do not collect 200 years.
Well, Clid is showing us that he's an expert in Monopoly this game.
Oh yeah, he is. He's basically the chance cards that feel like they're always just sending you to jail, directly to jail. As Ruler will take down this Nexus, and it's a swift 2-0. Back-to-back tonight. This is what we expected out of Gen.G, but it was very clean. And now, our Friday just got even more interesting, because Damwon, they really put away T1 in pretty surprising fashion in our first series.
Yeah.
And Gen.G have gone on to do the same to SANDBOX in the series immediately following, meaning that momentum's a bit crazy going into this one, where T1 have always had the edge over Gen.G, especially this year.
And so we'll see what does end up happening. For SANDBOX, that is the end of their Nightmare run against the pretty much almost all the elite teams in LCK. And so now they're going to have a couple of easier matches, and we'll see what they manage to do against them, because that'll really help gauge where exactly they are genuinely standing inside of the league. Are they legitimately 10th place? Down there with Hanwha Life? It looks like it.
Yeah.
But we'll find out for sure when they do collide.
And also, we will find out what changes when Yamato Cannon is actually here on stage with the team, here at LoL Park with the team. You can see Joker, he's doing the best that he can at the moment, but I think SANDBOX probably want to make sure that they have everything that they expected to have for this season locked down before we can really see them find some improvement. And I think that Yamato Cannon comes in at exactly the right time, where the competition does dip down a little bit. You should be able to find yourself a few victories and then get the momentum, get the headspace back on track for SANDBOX.
Well, SANDBOX, they're having trouble where the laners aren't able to do enough on their own accord, at least not against the top teams, and then the jungle is very lost. Almost like the TV series Lost, which is very good, by the way, except for the ending. We don't talk about that.
Yeah, I haven't actually, I haven't watched much Lost, mostly because I heard about the ending being absolutely terrible, and it makes me really just not want to invest that amount of time. How many seasons are there? Like 650 or something like that?
Actually, I have no idea. I binge-watched it in a week.
Wow!
Yeah, and
that is an extraordinary amount of time spent watching Lost.
I think in 2013 I binge-watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
It was very good.
As was Gen.G's swift destruction of SANDBOX. Who did you give your player of the game to?
Give it to Clid.
Gave it to Clid? Yeah. I think the policeman probably deserves it this game. We'll see whether it's unanimous. I have a feeling 12 out of 12 is probably going to happen. Our first Volibear jungle, and Clid demonstrating exactly what it's supposed to do. I know a lot of you guys at home have seen it many, many times in other regions, but this is the first time for us here in the LCK.
I think Volibear will have more success in Korea than any other region, as weird as that is, because the laners are so passive and reserved that Volibear's ability to just dive turrets brain dead is probably going to be very helpful, combined with his early game potency, like Set and Olaf. I think it's pretty much foolproof. But he is vulnerable when laners interact with the junglers and manage to play around his obvious weaknesses. So, just some highlights from this game.
Some Devour highlights.
This was the real, I don't know. Watch on Fleek's flash here.
Oh, no. That's, it feels real bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much it would have actually changed. Like, OnFleek would have just maybe died
He would have
as
died,
well.
but Aphelios
Might have survived.
Gotten out, yeah. So, that's definitely surprising. Right here, Kellen was the one tanking turret.
Yeah, so Rule is absolutely fine. That's why he was sort of ignoring the fact that Flag and Drag would have that added CC. That regurgitate over the wall was absolutely beautiful, and this triple kill sort of coming out of nowhere, to be honest. Corki unable to get that front end burst working. His OnFleek gets exhausted and then flashes, and then is unable to actually land the smite. And Summit so close to having value, but unfortunately he just fell too far behind.
Yeah.
And even though some of the flanks were great, he just didn't do enough damage.
It was a B5 cannon as well.
Yeah.
Which was very surprising, because you're picking cannon and you're going in blind, and there's so many champions that can ruin that champion's life up and top that were even actually okay in this game. So it's not even just the Ornn that could cause him problems.
Flash forward from Fate, saved a bit, but not ultimately enough. And unfortunately here for OnFleek, the Searing Charge being able to break terrain and also get a knock-up onto the Jarvan sort of worked against them in this particular fight. And Ruler kiting people out pretty effortlessly as BDD was untouched because everyone was just trying to take down the Ashe. And yes, congratulations, SANDBOX, you did that, but then you got aced and lost the game.
True.
풀체크전.
Dream cannon moment, am I right?
Yeah. I mean, they landed everything that they ideally would like to land, but look at Root and Fate, they could never really enter the fray.
Well, there they go.
Yeah.
Enter the fray right there. It's not exactly the avenue that you want to go.
나 살래.
But unfortunately in this game, they were just too far behind. As we have to listen to BDD being very happy.
끝냅시다.
Klid should be taking down player of the game here.
Yeah.
10k damage, exactly double that of OnFleek. As we have a look, not that many years in it, but the damage dealers of GenG doing exactly what we expect from them. You can see good old BDD doing a lot of damage on his Azir. I still believe he is undefeated, as we have a three-way tie when it comes to the POG vote.
Yeah. 4 jungle, 4 mid, and 4 AD carry.
That's weird. Why don't we just give it to Klid? Because he was the one that deserved it, in our opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he really got the ball rolling, mitigated basically Kennen from ever coming into the game. He was there in the plays in bottom, counter jungled the Jarvan, kept him out of the game.
I think the game was won based on how well the Volibear was played. Plus,
won the
first
fight at Baron.
Yeah, obviously has practiced a new champion in order to bring it to the LCK.
True.
There's a lot of little things that you could say there, but we'll see what is going to happen. There are ways to break ties.
I don't know. It's only a 3-way. It should be a 4-way tie.
Oh, so what must have happened is, you know how we have the specific votes that are used to break ties? All 3 of those people must have individually voted for BDD, Klid, or Ruler. So
I'd give it to Chovy.
Yeah, I think maybe just in the end, Chovy gets it.
Yeah. That would make the most sense.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Chovy on one of his first player of the game votes so far.
In a match, he didn't even play.
I know. It's epically impressive. That's going to really help their momentum moving towards tomorrow's match, which is actually going to be a big one. DRX versus Team Dynamics. We get to see how legit Team Dynamics are, because they've done an opposite SANDBOX. They've gone through all of the bottom-end teams, apart from SANDBOX, surprisingly, and are now faced with their first real true test, which is, of course, the #1 team that are currently undefeated here in the LCK. There's not much test that gets bigger than that. We're still deliberating, by the way, guys. We're still trying to figure out who to give this this dang player of the game to. I don't know, are we going to have a revote or something like that? Maybe we ask Jonas Strong, it's like, do you want to change your mind, maybe? Or something like that? I'm not entirely sure.
The observers were shilling in one of the one of the series today.
I spoke to
support vote.
Yeah, I spoke to Jonas Strong about that. He thought that that the Bard deserved it. I didn't see too many Tempered Fates that really worked, and then Woodid was sitting next to him, and he's like, come on, man, you got to be trolling. And so, yeah, Woodid agrees that those support votes are not necessarily the greatest.
It's totally fine.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't me, man. I completely agree that
You didn't get a vote.
definitely should have gone there. No, I don't. I had my vote removed because I obviously would have voted for a Bard, and that requires that I just no longer sit here. I'm still waiting for more information, by the way.
Yeah.
We just don't know who to give this player of the game vote to. Maybe we just give it to all three of them, and because
Perfect.
you get 100 points,
A
right?
team
So
vote.
they get 33.3 points
Okay.
each, and then I guess based on how division works, we're going to lose a very small amount, as we do have the result. So it's going to go to Clear.
Great.
Perfect. There we go.
Justice has been restored.
6009 with kill participation of 75% at 15 minutes, and his gold deficit or gold difference at the end was being ahead 3,500 gold. Not bad at all for the debut of Jungle Volibear.
Yep.
Oh, this punch so satisfying.
Well, sat on Kennan's head.
Yep.
Is all that happened there.
Good
Sat on root as well. Autoed the turret once for good measure.
And own-wrecked it as well.
Exactly. And then right here, helping Ruler out to deal with fate.
I mean, Clear just took absolutely no damage at all.
Yeah, he just really couldn't be focused, which...
I mean, he's not supposed to be, right? Because he's a tank, but unfortunately does a little bit too much damage. Yeah, SANDBOX trying their very best to lock down BDD there, but they couldn't. Too many carries on this Gen.G squad.
Yep.
With Clid there able to control the battlefield really beautifully. It was a great game out of Gen.G, a good series for them, but not necessarily the caliber of competition that we really want to see. We want to see Gen.G up against the very best here in the LCK. So they lost to DRX, they managed to take down Dom1, and now they're up against T1 in a couple of days, and that is going to be very, very interesting stuff.
Yeah, that'll really, I think, cement where they are, at least in round number 1, because I can't imagine them dropping a set to any other team.
Yep. And
so far.
They remain tied at least with game score and match score.
Yep.
If they 2-0, if T1 2-0s them on Friday. Otherwise, there's not going to be a way. Of course, head-to-head will put, I believe, the winning team above. So if T1 do manage to win, they actually move ahead of Gen.G, which is very interesting. But I believe we do have an interview now, and that's why the music has stopped. We haven't quite panned over there yet, as I'm waiting to send it over to G-Sun. I'm so ready. As here we go. So take it away, G-Sun, with the interview translation.
Late, but on-time interview translation, and we'll be hearing from BDD played a 2-0 win against SANDBOX Gaming. Today, again, we really needed the momentum because our next match is so important, so I'm happy that we secured it. Clid, first time seeing you on the Summer Split interview. How do you feel, Clid? Yeah, just as BDD said, remaining this momentum was really important because it was going to be a huge impact on our next series. So I'm happy that we were able to get this kind of a clean victory. BDD, you are on the top of the POG standings. I mean, you were the season MVP of the last split, but you said your performance in the Dama series were only 1 out of 10, and this last time it was 1.5 out of 10. But what about today? I'll say 2 out of 10. We're going up, right? You're ramping up. I will keep going up 1 game at a time. What about Clid? Would you rate his performance? Well, if I had to rate BDD, I always think him as a 10 out of 10 player. I'll give him 10. Then BDD, what about Clid? Clid. If I have to rate him, I think he was like 100 out of 10. This mid jungle synergy is on point. Look at the huge screens on BDD and Clid face. Clid, did you expect this? I mean, BDD always has been really nice to me, so I was looking forward to it. Let's talk about the game first. Last time it was Talia, now you played Echo. It's been 2 years since it was last played in the mid lane. What was the reason in that pick?
그 롤챔스에서도 아지르나 막 신데라 상대로 나오기도
I mean, originally it was a
그래가지고
pick
사용하기도
into
하고요.
Azir or Syndra, so that was the main reason.
젠지의 경기를 보다 보면 저희도 깜짝
Whenever we
놀라고
watch
플레이 볼 시간이
Gen.G
없을 정도예요.
game nowadays, there is just no time to go for a replay because you guys are fighting like all day.
노력을 하시는 건가요?
Is that the team's goal, being more
약간
aggressive
연습 과정이나 대회에서도 보면
during the
좀
screens,
약간
and also
상대가 당황하게 할
in the
정도로
competitive
그런 걸 약간
games?
노력하고 있는 것 같고요.
Our goal is to
그러다
like
보니까
make a lot of
실적으로
fights
다섯 명도 그런 쪽으로
and
가는
making
것
the opponents flustered.
정말 1세트 정말 파괴적인 경기력을 보였는데 룰러가
Game number 1,
1경기에서 0대4에다가
Ruler didn't die,
스펠도 안 썼답니다.
and he didn't even use any of his spells in game 1, but he missed his POG.
스펠도 안 썼다. 이건 엄청난 거 아닙니까?
I mean,
예.
which means that he was staying so intact, but
뭐래요, 룰러?
how was his performance? What did Ruler say after the POG announcement? We didn't know about the spell, but all day long, all he said was enemy no spell, enemy no spell.
그 바텀 라인전을 잘 풀어 나가서 그랬던 것 같아요.
Ruler has been doing a lot of work down in the bottom lane.
대회에서 항상 컨디션
In addition to that, a lot of people have been saying that Gen.G, they are really strong in the practice games and scrims, but you guys are not performing fully up to your potential, and BDD, you also mentioned that in your interview.
뭔가 계속 과감하게 한 것 같아서 오늘 그래도
But for today, I think we were going a little bit more aggressive, so it was similar to our scrim form.
볼리비아 정글이 또 해외 쪽에서 정말 많이
Split.
SK에서
Volibear jungle is a meta pick in other regions, but this was the first game for Volibear jungle. What is the strength of this pick? It's really strong in 1v1 fights, and also the jungling speed is really fast. So it depends on each team, but for me, I highly evaluate this champion.
본인들이 그 추구하는 방향 이제 뭐 속도의 젠지
Gen.G of the speed is back.
이제 느낌이 확 듭니다. 경기 시간도 스프링
The game duration is even shorter than the spring split, and you guys are having more kills.
본인들이 변화하려고 하는 방향이 어느 정도
Is this the path that you guys are trying to take?
저희가 MSC에서 중국팀한테
In the MSC, we were losing parlously to LPL teams, so that became a huge inspiration for us. After that, we believe that fighting is better, even though this might be a dicey choice.
본인들이 초반에 말씀하신 것처럼 다음 경기가 워낙 중요하기 때문에
As you guys mentioned already, the next match is so important. Your opponent will be T1. This can be a rematch of the finals. This can be your time to get your revenge.
예, 자, T1과의 경기 이거 어떻게 각오 한 말씀 좀 들어봐야겠습니다.
So, what's your mindset going into that series?
네, 저희 최근에 되게 대회에서 과감하게
Recently,
하고
we are really
있는데
aggressive and proactive on stage. I want to keep it at the T1 series and do my best to get my revenge on T1. One day, I believe that T1 is the obstacle that we have to get over and like improve on. So I always believe that we can make it. So I will not give up and do my best in the next T1 series. This will be the end of the interview with BDD Clit from Gen.G, and I'm gonna pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, G-Sun, as per usual, for your interview translation, and pretty early night tonight. I'm not entirely sure what the time is here in KST, but Gen.G made pretty short work of good old SANDBOX. What is it? Give it to us.
I might make it home before midnight.
Oh, wow.
No.
Well, that's a pretty swift ending to what was a day that was fast, right? But did teach us a lot, especially our first series. Good to see Damwon bouncing back after what was their loss against Gen.G. And as we check out the standings, Gen.G actually creating some distance between themselves and T1.
Yeah.
After today, 4-1 for them, 3-2 for T1. But very early days in the week, and Gen.G will need to take down T1 if they want to get themselves back. Remember, if T1 2-0s Gen.G, then both teams are going to be on +3, but head-to-head goes to T1. So
yeah.
We're back to square one all over again, actually.
So, also T1 has to be very bothered by Afrika. If Afrika just wins their series 2-0,
Yep.
they end up passing T1.
And that's why the KT Afrika series, which I think is on the last day,
Yeah.
is going to be quite important as well. Because T1 losing to Gen.G this week puts them on 3-3, which
Yeah.
is actually really, really rough. But tomorrow, we've got some interesting matches. DRX versus Dynamics is a big one.
Afrika can actually take that lead over
Tomorrow.
T1. Yeah, tomorrow. And DRX look to extend their lead against Dynamics. And that one will be interesting because I feel like this is where Dynamics is going to finally... well,
Yeah, I think this is the series that makes Dynamics honest, right? It
Yeah.
either makes them literally good or keeps them honest here in the LCK.
Yep.
Because we're still looking to see whether, you know, they're fresh out of Challenger. They've had a really good start, only one loss so far this season, but they haven't truly been challenged. So looking forward to seeing what they can do against the highest tier talent here in the LCK. But that is going to do it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you tomorrow for more LCK.
And I am ready to take it on. You told me to be myself and never feel alone. You're all that I want.